What's up, y'all? Bill McNeil rocking the mic again, cold representing Rocket Fuel malt liquor. It's got the mad flavor that takes any situation to the next level. So when the party starts bouncing and the ladies start bumping, tighten up your flow with Rocket Fuel. Rocket Fuel malt liquor. Damn!
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's time for some more comic industry news. Time to talk about the manga shortage. If you did not know, there has been a shortage of manga in North America, and it's only getting worse. We have the details here in a few seconds. We're going to talk about the new Green Arrow Aquaman team-up book, which I think sounds scintillating. I'll say scintillating. I'm definitely going to be checking that one out. We've got a new series debuting for Robert Kirkman under Skybound and his Skybound X anthology series. There's going to be a solo title launching out of that afterwards. And finally, we've got a big delay on an upcoming Marvel book that was supposed to be coming out, I believe, in August. It's been pushed back to November, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the main topic, the headline here. We've got a manga shortage. If you were unaware, 2020 manga sales were the highest in the history of North America since they've been recorded. And it looks like 2021 is going to be even bigger. And this has resulted in a shortage across North America. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated existing problems in supply chains, including shortages of printers, truck drivers, which is slowing the flow of manga to stores just when customers want it the most. This timing couldn't be worse. We finally have people coming out of the pandemic. Everything's pretty much opening up. Companies are out there competing for customer dollars, and there's a hot product that could be in your local comic shop moving units, and now there isn't a great supply of all that, which is very disappointing. This is probably the worst time I could think of for this to happen as movie theaters, vacation spots are all opening up. Not a good time for this to happen. This is what Bob Shaper of Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy in San Antonio, Texas said. Manga sales just spiked during the pandemic, and it's almost impossible to get replacements right now. That is correct. And I've been to Dragon's Lair Comics in San Antonio. It was right down the street from where I lived before I retired in the military. Great little shop. If you haven't been there and you're in the area, go check that one out. It's a really cool shop. They've got a lot of really cool like tabletop gaming accessories and stuff there too. Had a lot of fun. They've also got a completely separate gaming area, I believe, where if you want to go do that, you can do that in store. Also chiming in on this was Ryan Higgins of Comics Conspiracy in Sunnyvale, California. He only stocks first volumes of most manga because his store is so small, and then he gets his restocks through Diamond and Penguin Random House. This is what he had to say. Chainsaw Man volumes 2, 3, and 4, they're just gone. I don't think we'll ever be able to get those back in for customers. If it's not a current series, forget it. Anything that's finished, there's nothing available. There were select titles that obviously they do keep around, but if you're just looking for a random volume of like Attack on Titan, it is not available. I believe the select titles would probably be Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, some of the bigger titles that really drive sales. Although we got some details on that in here in a second. That really does suck, because one of the things that we've talked about here on the channel with Perch and Joe and some of the other people around this, one of the things that manga does, and that's easier for people to jump in on manga and really get into a storyline, is the continuity is not convoluted. You go in volume 1 and you read it to the end. And if you get on in volume 1, maybe you read volume 2, and next thing you know, there's 5 missing volumes. And no matter where you go, whether it's your local comic shop, Walmart, Amazon, eBay, wherever, you can't get a copy. It kind of it removes one of the good selling points of manga. So if you're a manga fan, this pretty much sucks. And it's not just local comic shops. Obviously, I've mentioned a couple here that have had some quotes in the ICV2.com article, which is linked in the video description. Big retailers such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble can't keep these titles either. Neither have volumes 2, 3, or 4 of Chainsaw Man or the first volumes of My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer available for online purchase. And neither had a full run of Jujutsu Kaisen. And this is what Kevin Hamrick, the vice president of publishing sales for Viz Media, the largest manga publisher in North America, had to say. Consolidation over the past few years in the U.S. printing industry has led to fewer plants and even fewer that can print manga. During the COVID crisis, the demand for books in all categories rose, which in turn led to an increase in the number of reprint jobs. This led to printers being at max capacity, not being able to accept new jobs in a timely manner. We definitely saw that. We've seen that for quite a while. There was, I know the price of paper went up, and a lot of printers actually were shutting down. So there were less printers out there, as well as what he's talking about right there. There have been other issues during this time as well, such as paper shortages, what I just talked about, pallet shortages, carton shortage, employee shortage, truck driver shortage, and container shipping and port issues for those books that are printed overseas. The supply chains for most industries is still disrupted, the book industry included. Not surprised that you're seeing a calamity of errors. As we are still opening up, these supply chains have been bottlenecked. You know, some places are open, some places are not. You have different rules for getting new products into the country. Also, some people weren't able to work in certain states and whatnot. And, it's just, you have one or two issues that you can work around. And then when all of a sudden you have 13 spring up at the exact same time, there's a root cause, but they're all happening in different areas, and you're having to treat them as all different issues, essentially. It's got to be, you've got to want to pull your hair out. I definitely feel for manga publishers and comic shops alike during this time. Habrick also said this: Viz Media is working with all our supply chain partners to get out from under this as quickly as possible, but it is going to take some time, probably into early next year. We're in July of 2021. Early next year, I will say that is March 2022. So like 8 or 9 months at least. That's crazy. Might be 8 or 9 months before they get these supply chain issues hemmed up and fixed up and get everything back working on time. Like I said, couldn't be a worse time for manga as interest in sales explode in North America. Do I think this will affect manga sales? I don't know. Are people going to be able to sit there and wait out 4 months 8 months of waiting for their volume of manga? The good thing is you can get the Shonen Jump app for $2. If you're stuck in a rut reading Chainsaw Man, you can likely get Chainsaw Man on Shonen Jump and keep reading, and then you can go back and get the volumes for your library, your personal library, and go fill it in, when they're finally in stock. That's really I don't think DC, Marvel, Image, Diamond, Penguin Random House, Lunar, Tim Seeley, the local comic shops really understand what an enormous advantage having a $2 app with all the comics available to the customers. That is the most impulse buy of all times. It's $2. You don't even think about it. Yet, if something like this happens, you're not stuck, or you're not having to go onto eBay and pay enormously insane prices. If I want to get a copy of Matt Kent's, 4001 AD and Rye Run, like the hardcover, $350 minimum used, because there's no supply for it. Isn't that insane? And they underprinted it. Yes, I can go buy a copy on Comixology or whatever. But if I had Shonen Jump, if Comixology was $2 and you got everything, it would be so much easier to just wait around for them to actually reprint that. Not that I think Valiant Comics is going to, but I really wish they would. Please, Valiant Comics, first, print the compendium for Exo Man of War, and then go back and do a second printing of that Rye hardcover. Come on. I really do think that the digital strategy of manga really helps separate that product apart from North American comic books, and even young adult graphic novels, kids graphic novels, as being not only a premier product, but you have premier access for a really good price. So if you're a big fan of manga, if you've been waiting for your 4th volume of The Promised Neverland, I'm sorry, it's probably not going to come in until early next year. I hope you get your volume before then, but it looks like the problem will only get worse in the immediate future until it works itself out over the long term. Next up, let's talk about North American comic books. Let's talk about DC Comics. We've got a new series coming out called Deep Target. This is going to be an Aquaman Green Arrow team up. Listen, not exactly a classic pairing as far as DC Comics go, but hell, I'm down. Aquaman and Green Arrow could be fun. I think Green Arrow is a great character to really do a team up book with a lot of characters. He's juxtaposed with a lot of DC characters and can really bring in that natural conflict and confrontation with the other hero and make the story more interesting as you kind of work through things as you're doing like your adventure team up. This is going to be starting in October. As I mentioned, it's going to be called Deep Target, 7-issue series. It was confirmed by DC, but was first announced on Twitter via writer Brandon Thomas. This series will be illustrated by Ronan Clickett and Ulysses Areola, covers by Marco Santucci and Yin-Hyuk Lee. And this is what Brandon Thomas had to say in that tweet. Arthur Curry and Oliver Queen team up and throw down in Deep Target, a mind-bending, worlds-altering adventure that launches in October. Absolutely. If you were not a fan of Brandon Thomas, the writer, it's a creator that specifically it appears that DC have earmarked as somebody that they think can lead this next generation of talent through DC Comics. He's one of the guys that's come in here. He's getting multiple projects. He's most well known for his indie book Excellence. I believe that's through Image Comics. Nothing but good words to say about that. I really enjoyed his Future State Aquaman. I didn't like his 8-page story in Green Arrow, but this is not going to be that character. This is going to be the original Oliver Queen rather than Connor Hawke. So it's a different character. We'll see if he has a better take on this one. And it was only 8 pages. There's only so much you can do with that many pages. But I'm on board for his Aquaman the Becoming. Obviously, that's a different version of Aquaman as well. That's Jackson Hyde. So both characters do not have a solo series. I think that'll be alleviated somewhat soon for Aquaman at least. But you can see both of these characters in Brian Michael Bendis' Justice League. So if you don't want to read Deep Target, but you want to see the two of them, go read Bendis' Justice League and have fun with that. And then really the only other place that you're going to see Aquaman, I guess, is Jackson Hyde Aquaman in Aquaman the Becoming. And then we do have Green Arrow is in Bendis' Checkmate as well. So if you don't want Bendis, you're going to have to read this. Interesting enough, both of these characters debuted in November 1941's More Fun Comics number 73 with a co-creator of Mort Weisinger was a co-creator on both characters. Despite that, we just really haven't seen the two characters work together much in the past. I think this sounds great. I'm a customer. Does this move ahead of the line of the long Halloween special? No. That's my most anticipated DC comic of the end of the year. That is not the only debut that's coming up soon. We've got a new series coming from Skybound, Robert Kirkman's imprint at Image Comics, and it is going to be a Kirkman series itself. It's called Code, capital C, capital O, capital D, capital E, and it will launch along with artist Jason Howard in August for Skybound X or Skybound 10, their 10th anniversary anthology series that's basically highlighting a lot of the major characters that they've introduced over the past 10 years and some new characters or properties like this Code. Number 5 is when you will see the first appearance of Code, perhaps a comic that you should put on your pull list as something that may have some value down the road, as it will be spitting out into its own series. And Code is going to reunite Kirkman and Jason Howard, who worked in the past on Astounding Wolfman and Super Dinosaur. According to Image and Skybound, Code is a story of humanity's struggle for survival in a technological hellscape of a far future by the use of devices known as combat orb defense engines, or codes. So these are big kind of mech suits. And this is what the description says. 7 orb wielders who hail from 6 different warring factions have set aside their differences to band together and carry out a mission that may be humanity's last hope to thwart a technological menace that has nearly completely overtaken Earth. I like Voltron. I like new spins on Voltron. So I imagine this is going to be fun. I am a fan of Kirkman, although probably not as big a fan as a lot of the viewers. I think his Walking Dead is perfectly fine. I thought that the show on AMC wore out its welcome quite fast. But I like Kirkman's work. Like what was it, Oblivion Song? I like the first 3 volumes. I think it's the first 3 volumes. I think that's the first story arc. Then it was like, where are you going to go from here? I understand a lot of people like that one. Die. I really enjoyed the hyperviolence and the political satire and parody of it all. But there's only so much of that I could take. I think I got through 7 issues, and I was like, I'm going to need to stop reading this one too. So we'll see if Kirkman's code wears on me, like a lot of his other stuff. Firepower is still fine. I still like Firepower, even though we just finished up the first story arc of that one. Perhaps code will be more in line with that. And this is what Mr. Kirkman himself had to say about the series. This is a beginning of something truly ambitious that combines all the genres we love into one big superpowered epic. There's no better way to end the celebration of Skybound's first 10 years than to bring you something entirely new for the very first time. There you go. That will be the last issue of Skybound 10. Will be number 5. August 4th is when it comes out, and we will be getting a code series spitting out of it. I imagine a lot of people are going to be excited about that. I'm excited. I'll be reading, probably not the Skybound X. I hate anthologies, but I will be reading the series, at least the first issue, to see if I like it. The final story of this day, Black Panther from John Ridley, has been delayed. The upcoming Black Panther by John Ridley and Juan Cabal has been delayed by Marvel Comics. The publisher informed retailers that the monthly series originally planned to launch on August 4th, the same day as Code is launching out of Skybound X number 10, has now been postponed to November 3rd. That is a significant delay. That is 3 months. And the second issue is now slated to arrive on December 1st. We have definitely seen delays on Black Panther in the past. I think it might have not published for a year after the pandemic shutdown. It was just one of those series they never prioritized. And then they kept delaying the finale. It was like, you already shut this thing down for a year. What was Coates doing? Did he just stop working? Maybe. I know they did Pencils Down. And this series is being marketed as a revolutionary new take on T'Challa and the Wakandan kingdom that will upend everything and have ramifications for the entire Marvel universe. I don't believe you. I don't believe anything Marvel says when it gets to that kind of rhetoric. I don't think anything they do will ever upend the entire Marvel universe. And if it does, it'll only upend it for about 3 weeks until the next thing that upends the entire Marvel universe. Undersell and overdeliver, my friends. Don't oversell and underdeliver. When you say stuff like that, you're just going to let people down. Marketing 101. From yours truly over here, Thinking Critical YouTube. And this is the description of Black Panther number 1 that you're going to have to wait until November 3rd of 2021. Secrets from T'Challa's past have come back to haunt him. Fresh from returning from his travels in space, Black Panther receives an unexpected and urgent message from a Wakandan secret agent. Now T'Challa must race the clock not only to save his agent, but also to keep his true agenda under wraps, because if the truth comes out, it could cost T'Challa everything. We've got intrigue. It sounds like something bad has happened. Is it Storm? Is it an agent of Krakoa who's now the region of Mars that would know secrets about T'Challa? Of course it's not Storm, but hey, it could be, I guess. I'm probably not going to read this this Black Panther series, but if you're excited for this Black Panther series under John Ridley and Juan Cabal, I am disappointed to inform you that you will have to now wait until November 3rd, 2021, and then you will get your second offering in December 1st. Rather than starting in August. And that is disappointing. And that is the news for today, folks. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. I've got a cool video coming up first thing in the morning. I don't normally do morning videos before the Comics Aficionados live stream, but we're going to talk about the spring comic sales trends that came out this week. That one's a good one. You're not going to want to miss the Comics Aficionados. On Saturday, we're going to be talking about the best and worst comics of 2021 so far. But today we talked about the manga shortage, the great manga shortage in 2021. A lot of people might not even be aware that it's happening. But if you are a manga purchaser and you need some volumes to fill in your collection, you might be a little disappointed until the early part of next year. We've got a new series teaming up Aquaman and Green Arrow at DC Comics called Deep Target from Brandon Thomas. I'm a customer. I think this sounds fun. I'm definitely going to check it out. We've also got a new series from Robert Kirkman. Is he the biggest name in indie comics? I still think he is. I still think Kirkman's number one. So I think Code is going to be a big deal from Skybound. Is launching in Skybound 10, number 5 in August. And finally, if you are a fan of the Black Panther and you were excited about the upcoming John Ridley Black Panther series, you are going to have to wait 3 months. It has been delayed from August into November 2021. That is the news. I hope you all are having a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow live on the Comics Aficionados.